Hello and welcome to our channel. My name is Cheryl and me and my team help people buy and sell apartment buildings in Baltimore. Thank you for tuning in with us at Frederick Realty. Today we are going to talk about lead paint regulations and compliance. We have special guest Mark Fitzgerald, owner and managing partner of Baltimore Lead Paint Services, here with us to share the process, updates, and best tips and tricks for complying with affected property. Firstly, if your property was built after 1978, your property is presumed to be lead-free by both Maryland and the federal government. There are no actions or registrations necessary if your property was built after 1978. So then what is affected property? Any property built before 1978. And since Baltimore City was built before 1978, over 50% of rentals in the city are considered affected. For property built prior to 1978, there are three main inspection methods: lead-free, limited lead-free, and full risk reduction. Lead-free and limited lead-free require no testing between your tenancies. If your rental is lead-free, you are not required to do anything to stay in compliance with lead laws. If your home is limited lead-free, you are required to have an exterior inspection once every 2 years. This inspector will check for chipping, flaking, or peeling paint, CFP. You may have to make repairs to the exterior to have your limited lead-free certificate renewed for 2 more years. Today, we are focusing on properties that do not have a lead-free or limited lead-free status. Properties that have a full risk reduction certificate undergo dust wipe tests between each tenancy. Mark, as our special guest, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself and your firm?
Cheryl, thank you for the invitation to join you today. As mentioned, my name is Mark Fitzgerald. I'm the owner and managing partner of Baltimore Lead Paint Services, an accredited lead paint inspection contractor since 2006.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Mark. So let's get into it. If a property needs your services, what does a rental owner need to do to prepare for this inspection?
The key word is listen. We can provide guidelines so that we help our customer have one inspection, pass that inspection, get a lead certificate, and move forward. This includes a visual review to make sure the dwelling is free of paint defects, both interior and exterior. We also inspect to make sure the interior is as clean as possible, focusing on horizontal surfaces such as windows and floors. I like to use the phrase look up, look down, look left, look right.
That's sage advice, Mark. It is important to note that Mark has to inform the MDE, Maryland Department of Environment, of his schedule, so same-day inspections are not possible.
Correct. All accredited inspectors must notify the department 24 hours in advance prior to any inspection.
Great, Mark. So what are the thresholds for window wells, window sills, and floors? What does that mean in layman's terms? And have there been any recent changes in the allowed lead levels?
From February of 1996 until June 2020, the lead dust hazard levels were as follows: floors, less than 40 micrograms per square foot; windowsills, less than 250 micrograms per square foot; and window wells, in the case of a non-lead-free window, was less than 400 micrograms per square foot. In 2019, HUD stated there was no safe level of lead, and they reduced the lead hazard standards to less than 10 micrograms per square foot for floors and less than 100 for windowsills. In a state where a state agency will administer a program that would normally be administered by the federal government, that program has to be as strict or stricter than that of the federal program, which is exactly what Maryland Department of Environment decided to do. So they adopted floors and windowsills per HUD and then lowered the allowable lead dust standard for window wells to less than 400. This creates an incredible burden in getting a non-lead free window to pass a lead inspection. We at Baltimore Lead Paint Services can offer guidelines as to how to prepare non-lead free windows to pass a lead inspection.
Things are always changing, Mark. On that note, in 2019, Baltimore City stopped allowing winter waivers. Would you tell us how that changed things for property owners in Baltimore City?
Indeed. In 2019, Baltimore City made a blanket statement that they wanted residential rental property owners of affected properties to be responsible for the condition of the paint on the exterior year-round. No more forgiveness and no more delayed winter waivers. Maintaining your property on a regular basis and checking for exterior chipping, peeling paint prior to freezing weather can help avoid non-passing of a lead test.
Are there any other mistakes or pitfalls that property owners tend to make?
The most common issues we face are that the dwelling is simply not clean enough, which goes back to listen, and more so reflecting the new lead dust hazard. Simply stated, what used to be clean enough is not clean enough anymore. Having your lead inspector arrive as soon as possible after the cleaning is imperative. Perfect example, cleaning a windowsill with a feather duster will not get the job done.
So a thorough cleaning is important before your inspector arrives. Got it, Mark. Hey, worst case scenario. What if a child tests positive for elevated blood lead levels? Can you walk us through that?
Indeed. Children these days, particularly in Baltimore City, have blood tests at a very early age and whenever they start school. A blood lead level of 5 milligrams per deciliter is considered a level of concern. A result of 10 micrograms per deciliter is considered an action level where medical treatment will be required. It also brings into play a new inspection method which we haven't discussed, the modified risk reduction. This is a two-party inspection where an accredited MDE supervisor will come in and follow a list of 9 specific risk reduction measures. They can range from making sure that floors are clean and smooth, and in the bathroom and kitchen, smooth, cleanable, and water resistant, that doors open and close freely without friction. And once the list of risk reduction measures are complete, they can use MDE approved cleaning measures. Then we come directly behind them and take, this time, 3 samples from every room with a window, not just one, and submit a modified risk reduction certificate to the owner and to the City of Baltimore Health Department. This does not cure lead poisoning, but eliminates the risk at the child's home, which is presumably the place they spend most of their time.
Yikes, Mark. It doesn't sound like a good spot to be in. So other than obtaining the certificate and full risk reduction status, there are 2 other tasks that property owners should be aware of. The first is that you must send the Notice of Tenants' Rights and the Protect Your Family from Lead in the Home pamphlet. These forms are available on the MDE website, but we also have them in our resources tab at benfrederick.com. If you are having problems finding them, please don't hesitate to email and I will happily share them with you. These documents need mailed to your tenants every 2 years for full risk reduction apartment rentals. Every 2 years, you remind them of their rights. Also, you have to pay yearly registration fees every December for the upcoming year. We will be posting a video on how to open an owner portal soon, and also how to renew your properties later this season. Mark, how long should property owners keep records and past lead certificates with their leases?
The easy answer, as long as you have room for them. However, for legal reasons, we suggest keeping them forever, as long as you can. While your inspection contractor is more than happy to provide duplicate documentation, we are not required to maintain records more than 5 years.
I have been guilty of asking Mark for lead certificates for more than 5 years, and he's patient with us. But anyway, Mark, we understand that paper lead certificates are no longer being issued. What is the new process with the Maryland Department of Environment?
The lead registration, accreditation, and certification electronic portal went live on December 6th of last year. Since then, we've been scheduling inspections and completing lead certificates online. A lead certificate cannot be produced without having previously scheduled the inspection. I'll sign on to the database and schedule a job now. Once I do so, I can bring it back up as a scheduled inspection, and this is how we create the lead inspection certificate.
Mark, what happens while you're in the rental unit for the inspection?
Our procedure is as follows. We conduct a visual review to determine that there is no paint defects, no chipping, flaking, peeling paint. We create a diagram of the dwelling showing rooms, window locations, doors, etc., and specifically mark the areas that we test. We identify each sample by writing the designation on the tube, sample with a wipe. The wipe goes in a tube. It all goes to the lab the same day with a chain of custody. Generally speaking, the lab will report on the second business day, and we'll be able to complete your inspection certificate.
That's great, Mark.
The easiest way to learn about lead inspections from our standpoint is to visit our website at www.blps.biz.
Coming soon, we will be sharing a tutorial on registering new properties and how to renew properties every December. Thanks for tuning in to this video on lead paint compliance. Be sure to like and subscribe, and to check out our new video on COVID legislation updates coming your way soon. Thanks. See you next time.